Some of the poorest countries on Earth sit on oceans of oil. Their soil is soaked with black gold, yet their people wait in line for bread. Their capitals shine, but their villages sit dark. How can such wealth leave a nation so hollow? Look at Venezuela, floating on the world's largest oil reserves. Look at Nigeria, pumping crude for over 60 years. Look at Angola, at Equatorial Guinea, and South Sudan. All rich underground, all struggling above. The answer is a geography trap called the resource curse. Start with a simple picture of any oil-rich country. A few pipelines, a port, and a handful of drilling rigs. That is often the entire economy on a map. Everything else feeds off those few dots. Oil is different from almost every other product. It gushes from the ground with very little labor once wells are drilled. A country can earn billions without training engineers, farmers, or factory workers. The money simply arrives from abroad. At first, this feels like a miracle. Roads get paved, palaces get built, budgets balloon overnight. But underneath, something quiet and dangerous begins. The rest of the economy slowly stops growing. Economists call the first symptom Dutch disease. It is named after the Netherlands in the 1960s. The Dutch found huge natural gas fields in the North Sea. Exports surged and the currency shot upward. A stronger currency sounds wonderful for a nation. Imports become cheap. Foreign holidays feel affordable, but it quietly kills local factories and farms. Their goods suddenly cost too much on world markets. Picture a shoe factory in Lagos or Caracas. It once sold shoes to neighbors across Africa or Latin America. Then oil money floods in and the currency strengthens. Suddenly, imported Chinese shoes are cheaper than local ones. The factory closes. The workers scatter. A whole industry quietly disappears from the map. Multiply that by textiles, tomatoes, cement, and steel. An entire productive economy erodes in a decade. Now the country makes almost nothing except oil. Every shirt, every screw, every apple must be imported. This is the first jaw of the trap. Geography gave them one product, and it pushed out all the others. The second jaw is even sharper. Oil prices swing wildly, and the country swings with them. When a barrel sells for $100, the treasury overflows. When it drops to $30, the treasury collapses. A farmer can plan around seasons and rainfall. A government cannot plan around global oil markets, so spending explodes in boom years. Salaries rise, subsidies grow, giant projects get announced everywhere. Then the price crashes without warning. Hospitals run out of medicine. Teachers go unpaid, half-built bridges rust. Venezuela lived this exact cycle in slow motion. Booming in the 2000s, collapsing after 2014. Nigeria felt it too, and Russia, and Mexico. Boom bust, bust boom bust, decade after decade. The third jaw is about where the money goes. Oil wealth does not spread evenly like farming income. A farming economy needs millions of hands. A wheat field, a fishing boat, a village market. Money moves to countless workers and small businesses. Wealth naturally spreads across the land. Oil is the opposite. A single offshore rig can outproduce an entire province of farms. That money flows to just a few places. The national treasury, the oil company, a handful of contractors. On a map, the wealth clusters in one capital city. Skyscrapers rise while the countryside stays unchanged. Luanda in Angola became one of the most expensive cities on Earth, yet just outside it, villages lacked clean water. This concentration warps everything else. Talented people chase government jobs, not factories or farms. Why start a business when the state is the biggest customer? Why farm when a permit from the capital is worth more? The whole country tilts toward the oil ministry. Innovation withers where the pipeline does not reach. Pause the map for a moment. Would you ever want to live in a country like this, where geography decides your future more than skill? Tell me in the comments, which resource-rich place fascinates you most? Then, let us keep unpacking why the trap is so hard to escape, because there is still a fourth jaw, and it may be the heaviest. Oil creates something economists call rentier states. States that live off rent from the ground, not taxes from people. Normally, a government must tax its citizens to survive. That forces it to listen, to negotiate, to deliver services. But an oil state barely needs its citizens' money. It sells crude abroad and funds itself from foreign buyers. The link between the people and the treasury weakens. Accountability quietly drains out of the system. Roads, schools, and courts stop being priorities. Controlling the pipeline becomes the priority instead. Compare two neighbors on the same continent, Botswana and a typical oil-dependent state. Botswana is rich in diamonds, not oil, but faced a similar temptation. It chose to save, invest, and diversify. It built schools, roads, and stable institutions. Today, it is one of Africa's steadier economies. Many oil states took a different road. They spent windfalls fast and rebuilt little for the future. The geography was luckier, but the outcome was harsher. Resources alone do not build a modern nation. Now zoom out and look at the world map. Notice something strange about the top oil producers. Norway sits at the top and stays wealthy and stable. Saudi Arabia and the Emirates use oil to build futuristic cities, yet Venezuela, Nigeria, Iraq, and Libya struggle deeply. Same product, wildly different outcomes. The difference is not the oil itself, it is what was built before the oil arrived. Norway found oil in the late 1960s. It already had strong institutions, courts, and a diversified economy. It created a sovereign wealth fund. Today, that fund holds over $1 trillion for future generations. Countries that struck oil before building institutions often struggled. There was no framework to manage sudden wealth. Geography handed them a fire hose of money, but no plumbing existed to carry it safely, so the money flooded a few hands. Everyone else waited for drops to trickle down. There's one more geographic twist worth seeing. Oil often sits far from where most people live. Nigerian oil lies in the Niger Delta swamps. Venezuelan crude sits along the Orinoco Belt. Angolan reserves lie under the Atlantic seabed. The wealth is physically distant from daily life. Pipelines carry it straight to the coast. From there, ships take it to Europe, Asia, and America. The oil never really passes through the country. It goes from the ground to the sea to the world. Only the money returns, and only to a few. The physical geography reinforces the economic geography. Meanwhile, the drilling zones often suffer the most. Spills poison fishing grounds, gas flares light the night sky, farmers lose their soil, fishermen lose their catch. The regions producing the wealth grow poorer, not richer. This creates deep regional tensions inside these countries. Not because of people, but because of pipelines. The map of grievance follows the map of oil. Geography quietly writes the script. Now put every jaw together and see the trap. Weak factories, wild price swings, concentrated money, and weak accountability. Any one of these can wound a country. All four together can hold it down for generations. This is why we say too much oil can keep a country poor. Not the oil itself, but the pattern it creates. The good news is the trap is not destiny. Some countries have escaped it or never fell in. Indonesia used oil money to boost farming and manufacturing. Malaysia diversified into electronics and services. The United Arab Emirates poured revenues into ports, tourism, and aviation. Dubai became a hub, not just a well. The lesson is consistent across every map. Wealth from the ground must fund wealth above it. Otherwise, the country becomes a gas station with a flag. Rich for a moment, fragile forever. So when you next see a country blessed with oil, look twice. Ask what else it is building beyond the pipeline. Ask whether its farms still grow, its factories still hum, its schools still teach. Those answers matter more than the price of a barrel. Because geography gives the gift, but it does not decide the outcome. People and institutions do. Oil is not a curse in itself. It is a test, and a very hard one. Some countries pass it and become quietly powerful. Others fail it and stay stuck for decades. The map of oil is really a map of choices. Every barrel is both an opportunity and a warning. If this made the world click a little more for you, drop a thought in the comments. Which country's oil story do you want next? Subscribe and hit the bell for more on how the world really works. One place, one map, one why at a time. Because sometimes the deepest poverty sits directly above the greatest wealth.